John Milton is considered the second greatest writer in English, next to William Shakespeare. He was a poet, pamphleteer, and historian. He championed freedom of conscience, and opposed state-sanctioned religion including the Church of England. He also wanted to end the British monarchy. As a thinker with Puritan ideas, he also exalted the scriptures as the paramount authority for life and faith, instead of the teachings of any human being, especially the Pope. Interesting to note, Milton's grandfather was a staunch Roman Catholic, who disowned his father when he was a young man for reading in English, that is, a Protestant, Bible. Milton's father, however, became rich, and was able to provide well for Milton's education. John Milton, at a young age already wanted to become a poet, and pursued his studies beyond what was required because he believed that a poet must be well educated, and very knowledgeable about the world. His most famous work is Paradise Lost, an epic about the fall of Lucifer. Paradise Lost is considered to be one of the most beautiful poems in the world. Interestingly, Milton mentioned in this epic, the astronomer Galileo, whom he met during his trips to Italy, particularly Florence, where he established friendship with many local Roman Catholics on the basis of a shared interest in humanism. Galileo at this time was under house arrest by the Roman Catholic Church because he taught that the sun, and not the earth, was the center of the solar system. John Milton's poem, entitled, On His Blindness, or When I Consider How My Light Is Spent, was composed around 1655, when Milton completely lost his eyesight. To read the poem for us, in a way that illustrates the heartbeat-like rhythm of a poem with iambic pentameter, we have Professor Andrew Ray Peña, from the Philippine Normal University.
When I consider how my light is spent, or half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labor light denied. I fondly ask, but patience to prevent, that murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work, or his own gifts, who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly, thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait.
In this poem, Milton feels that because of his blindness, he was unable to finish the task God required of him. However, like many of the psalmist David's psalms, Milton's poem starts out with his misgivings but ends in a realization of God's righteous and fair judgment. God will not judge us for what we cannot do. Rather, he will judge us based on how we use the limited abilities he gives us. The octave, that is, the first 8 lines, talk about Milton's misgivings, while the sextet, the last 6 lines, talk about its resolution. God does not really need us to serve him, because he has thousands of angels to work for him. Angels can do God's bidding very quickly over land and over sea, and without any need to rest. A very famous quote from this poem is, "They also serve who only stand and wait." John Milton became blind. The phrase, "My light is spent," in the first line means his sight is already lost. John Milton felt that because he was going blind, he could no longer use his ability to serve God. He felt as though he was behaving like the wicked and lazy servant referred to in the parable of the talents, who had been given 1 talent, that is, an amount of money, but instead of investing it like the other 2 servants did and earn more, he buried it and gave it back to his master when he returned. The master chided this servant for his laziness in not putting the talent to earn more. Let's talk about the literary devices used in this sonnet. First is allusion. The reference to the talent, found in line 3, is a literary device called allusion. Allusion is a metaphor produced by referring to an item in another text. Hiding the talent could lead to a punishment comparable or akin to death. In this case, the allusion is made to the servant, in the parable of the talents, who did not put his 1 talent to use, and was punished for it. There is also allusion when Milton talks about bearing God's mild yoke. This is a reference to Christ's invitation to "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Caesura and enjambment. Caesura refers to a pause within a line. Caesura in Latin means, cut. That is likely where we get the term, Caesarean section. A pause near the start of a line is called an initial caesura. a pause in the middle, medial caesura, and a pause near the end, terminal caesura. You can see in the poem where a comma is placed in order to mark where a caesura occurs. Enjambment refers to an idea or an utterance that extends to the next line. In this poem, we can see that some lines do not have a punctuation at the end. This indicates that the reader must not pause at the end of the line. Instead, the reader must read on to the next line. This absence of a pause shows that the idea extends to the next line. There is also personification in this poem. Personification is when something that is not human is treated or presented as acting like a human being or possessing human characteristics. In this poem, Patience is treated as though it is a human being who can talk. The abrupt ending with the phrase, "They also serve who only stand and wait," is a literary device much like a caesura that suddenly puts a stop to all discussions. These are a few of the literary devices in this poem. Throughout the centuries, John Milton's poem, On His Blindness, has become an inspiration, not only for blind people, but for others as well.